After months and months of speculating and waiting, we finally got our first real glimpse of Star Wars Episode 9. And with that small shot of the teaser trailer, it gave way to even more questions. So we have a name, the Rise of Skywalker, and everyone is scrambling to figure out what that means. Is this about Leia reclaiming her father's bloodline as the Skywalker to restore hope to the galaxy? Is it about Ben's redemption and becoming the hero that Anakin Skywalker was? Is Luke coming back? Is Rey a Skywalker? We're going to have to wait to get a definitive answer to those questions in the final installment of the Skywalker Saga. But I'm going to take a look back at the teaser trailer and point out things I've noticed in this breakdown of Star Wars Episode 9's teaser trailer. What's up, Star Wars fans? My name is Prince and I'm an urban acolyte. This is going to be my breakdown of the teaser trailer for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Now, before I get into everything, I need to say the same thing that I said 2 years ago after we saw the teaser for The Last Jedi. What we saw was a teaser trailer. It's not the full trailer. The purpose of a teaser is to get everyone excited and to announce that this movie is coming. The teaser is basically like a bunch of promotional images. It's not meant to tell a story, so don't think too hard about any of this stuff because chances are a lot of it is meant to be misleading. If you've paid attention to any of the teasers for the sequel trilogy, there will definitely be misleading things in not just the teaser, but the actual trailers when we get them later. Also, if you're new here, I talk about Star Wars a lot. This is geek culture with a purpose, so this isn't your typical Star Wars channel. I get a little bit deeper into the themes, and if you like what you're hearing, hey, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, enable those notifications if you want to stay up on when new videos get posted. But alright, let's get to the teaser breakdown. The first thing we hear is Rey's heavy breathing and it fades to a shot of her on the desert planet. Now think back to the previous two teasers. The Force Awakens started with Finn breathing hard on Jakku. The Last Jedi started with Rey breathing hard on Ahch-To. Notice how Rey is dressed. Rey's attire is kind of based on her alignment. On Jakku, she was Scavenger Rey, but by the end when she leaves for Ahch-To, her clothes are inspired by Han Solo. In The Last Jedi, she went back to the Jakku look, but it was gray and white. It was her Jedi training look, but it was interesting that she wore a lot of grays as she was being pulled closer to the dark side in her attempts to pull Kylo Ren back to the light side. As Daisy Ridley said about her character, Rey's moral compass is ultimately pointed north, and we later discovered in The Last Jedi novel that the light side emanates from Rey to the point that it illuminates the things around her, like the light side of the Force touches everything that comes in Rey's presence, which makes her name completely appropriate. She's a ray of light. Here, Rey's look is a mix between her Scavenger Rey look and Luke Skywalker's ceremonial robes. Later on, you'll see that she actually has a hood on her tunic, and the collar is similar to the collar on Luke's tunic. I don't know, but for me, this says that Rey is a Jedi at this point in time. Also, notice that Rey has the Skywalker lightsaber, now officially Rey's lightsaber, and that's on her hip. Now, we hear Luke Skywalker's voice saying, "We've passed on all we know. 1,000 generations live in you now, but this is your fight." Now, first question, who is Luke talking to here? I mean, it's most likely Rey, but he says we. Does that mean we're going to see a bunch of Force Ghost Jedi Masters? I mean, if this is supposed to tie all of the previous 8 movies together, I can't think of anything better than Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Anakin, and Luke giving Rey this locker room speech before she has to go off to restore balance to the Force and beat the bad guys and become a legend. Also, we get a shot of Rey's lightsaber. Now, in my reaction video, I said that her lightsaber is different. Daisy Ridley said in the panel that the Skywalker lightsaber that she inherited still lives. But if you pay attention to the hilt, it's different. It's been altered. Previously, the hilt was intended to be used with 2 hands. Now the hilt is shorter, and I think we're going to see Rey using the lightsaber a lot with 1 hand, which kind of breaks the rules that George Lucas initially established. He said that lightsabers were meant to be used with 2 hands. The prequels relaxed that rule because there were supposed to have been thousands of experienced Jedi. The fight choreography in the prequels was based on wushu, whereas the fight choreography in the original saga was based heavily on kendo, or the sword fighting style seen in old samurai movies that inspired George Lucas. Here in the sequel trilogy, even though there have been complaints about the fight choreography and the lack of lightsaber duels, the fight choreography has been a mix of kendo, fencing, and wushu. There just hasn't been a lot of stuff in the previous two movies. I should also add medieval sword fighting, because that's what Kylo Ren seems to use a lot with that crossguard lightsaber. But either way, I think the shorter hilt could mean that Rey has a different fighting style in this movie, especially if she's had a bit of time to look through the Jedi text related to building and repairing a lightsaber and lightsaber combat. So we go ahead to this shot of this TIE fighter that's coming at Rey. Now the teaser gives the impression that Kylo Ren is the one piloting this, and we know that Kylo Ren will be involved in whatever happens on the desert planet. But I think this is a mislead. I don't think Kylo Ren is actually piloting this. Honestly, my first thoughts were that Poe Dameron might be flying this TIE because he and Finn stole it and they're picking up Rey. That's just my initial thoughts. We'll have to wait and see. But like I said, the teaser is just supposed to show us some really cool stuff. And this is showing us that Rey is a Jedi. She fixed the lightsaber that was broken at the end of The Last Jedi. And now she can do cool flips and leaps with the Force. So expect Rey to be a total badass in this movie if you like Rey. And if you don't like Rey, hey, well, let me know in the comments so that I could block your comments for the next 7 months. I ain't got time for that. The next shot we get is this nighttime shot of a snow planet with these villages up in the mountains. And this reminded me of the place from Solo, where Han, Kira, Chewie, and Beckett go to find Lando. I think it would be appropriate if they go back there to find old Lando still there hustling people on the card tables. You know, there's always some kind of cantina scene in the films, and this would be my choice for the cantina stuff. And I also wouldn't be surprised if we were to see Maz Kanata has relocated to this spot after the First Order destroyed her castle there on Takodana. Now, actually, this is an update to this part. After I wrote this, I came across something about this snow planet, and it might be a big spoiler, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I'm just going to say all that stuff that I thought that I actually wrote was probably wrong. There's probably going to be some comedic sequences here involving droids. That's all I'm going to say about that. We'll have to wait and see. But the next shot is Kylo Ren and a First Order Stormtrooper on a battlefield. Kylo Ren's not wearing his helmet, and we see him slam what some people think is a member of the Knights of Ren. Except, I don't think that's one of the Knights of Ren. I think this might be something showing that Kylo Ren is a warlord leading First Order forces against the non-Cinerus planets that haven't surrendered to the First Order. And if you don't understand that non-Cinerus thing, you'll need to read the Star Wars Bloodline novel that sets up the political situation in the galaxy before The Force Awakens. But to give you the TLDR, the Cinerus planets were basically led by senators who were either loyal to the First Order, already part of the First Order, or they were helping spread the First Order propaganda without actually knowing that they were part of the First Order. The next shot is Kylo Ren's helmet being repaired. And if you pay attention, yo, those aren't Kylo Ren's hands. I don't know if it's my eyesight, but those hands look hairy. So this is an alien repairing Kylo Ren's helmet. And since this helmet is part of the Knights of Ren's look, and possibly inspired by Vader or other Sith Lords, I think this is showing Kylo Ren's eventual return to the Knights of Ren, or this will mark some point of significance in the story where we'll start to learn more about the Knights of Ren. See my previous videos about the whole Knights of Ren thing if you haven't seen them already, because I've been looking at their possible connections to the ancient Sith religion, going back even before the prequels and the Bane Order of Sith. But okay, back to the desert planet. Here's a shot of Finn and Poe Dameron, and here's something interesting. Finn has Rey's staff from Jakku. Y'all from the old guard know that my channel started with 2 videos asking why Finn isn't Force sensitive after there were obvious signs of it in The Force Awakens. Now what if Rey has Finn running around with her Jakku staff because she's taking him on as her Padawan? Now I'm not going anywhere with that one. It was just a question that I thought about. Now we have another shot with BB-8 and his new sidekick, Dio. And I think they're going to be the comedic relief here. So if you're agitated anytime Finn ever told a joke in the previous 2 movies, well, I think Finn is finally going to be dialed in this film, and it'll be up to the droids to give us some laughs. Now, here's a shot in the Falcon with Chewie and Lando making the jump to hyperspace. And love it or hate it, if you saw Solo, then you gotta feel a special kind of way seeing Lando reunited with the Falcon, especially with Han no longer with us. Well, you know what I mean, because no one is ever truly gone. Back to the desert planet, we see Poe, Finn, and C-3PO on some kind of barge with the First Order pursuing them. Oscar Isaac and J.J. Abrams revealed that they spent about 3 weeks filming those shots on Jordan, and the crew spent months prepping for the scenes that were filmed there. We also have no idea how much of that part of the story could have been also filmed at Pinewood Studios. I think the desert stuff is going to be a really important part of the story. Like maybe there's some big secret that's held there. Could this be a part of Jakku that we didn't see in the first movie? I'm not sure. I think the real world location for the episode 9 desert scenes was not far from the physical location used for Nid Jeddah and Saw Gerrera's hideout in Rogue One. So could this be on another part of the Jeddah moon that didn't get destroyed? And it's also possible that they might be back on Tatooine. I don't know. What I think is that the desert has something to do with this race to find an item or an object that's going to change the tides of the war between the First Order and the Resistance. Next, we have a shot of Leia holding Han's medal from A New Hope. And that's followed by this shot of Leia and Rey hugging. Rey is crying, so this is a pretty emotional sequence. If Leia's scenes are all taken from unused footage in The Force Awakens, then I wonder if this one version of the hug that Leia and Rey had after she returned from Starkiller Base or before she leaves for Ahch-To, because in one version of the script, Leia talks to Rey about becoming a Jedi. She tells Rey that she had an opportunity to become a Jedi, but she didn't undergo the training. Rey mentioned her fear of falling to the dark side like Ben, and Leia assured Rey that it wouldn't happen to her. So much for this whole Rey is a Sith spy or Rey is going to turn to the dark side nonsense. But I've known about that conversation since 2016, and I guess you have to ignore canon to be popular on YouTube, because fake news sells to stupid people. But that brings us to this shot of the new heroes, Rey, Finn, and Poe. We hear Luke's voice saying, "We'll always be with you." Now, this is what we originally thought was that planet that was set in the plains or the grasslands, because a picture from here leaked of Chewie, Finn, and Poe back in the fall. But what we end up seeing when the shot changes is something I didn't anticipate based on what we saw of the planet from those leaked photos. When the camera changes, it looks like they're standing on a cliff overlooking the sea, and we see a big chunk of debris from the second Death Star. That looks like part of the focusing dish. A quick question. Hey, what is that white bag that Rey is holding? Also, are they actually on the planet Endor? The shield generator that the rebels had to take down was on the forest moon of Endor, so maybe this is the actual planet. Also, if there are any questions about the Death Star debris, well, you have to navigate through the Death Star debris if you played Inferno Squad story mode in Battlefront 2. Also, in the concept phase for The Force Awakens, at one point in time, Palpatine's throne room was going to hold some kind of secret that the Resistance needed to find on the Death Star, which was going to be underwater. Now we hear Luke saying, "No one's ever really gone." And then you cut to black, and then we hear Darth Sidious or Emperor Palpatine laughing. So what does it mean? No one's ever really gone, and we hear Palpatine is laughing. So does that mean it's the return of the Emperor like some people have been speculating? Could it be something that involves Palpatine like another part of his contingency plan? I mean, the First Order, how the Empire survived, that's all part of Palpatine's contingency plan. Yup Tashu had full knowledge of all of this, but he's dead. The first generation leaders of the First Order are likely dead. Or are they? Maybe General Hux is sharing things that his father passed down to him. All I'm saying is don't jump to the most obvious conclusion that Palpatine is back. Until I actually see the Emperor, I'm not going to believe that Palpatine is back. I mean, The Force Awakens had a voiceover of Luke Skywalker's speech to Leia about the Force being strong in his family, and people automatically assumed it was Luke talking to Rey. And hey, man, there's one guy who comments on every one of my videos because he still believes Luke was talking to Rey in that teaser because she's his daughter. In his mind. But I guess he'll still be in denial come December 21st when we find out that Rey is still not Luke Skywalker's daughter. Let me repeat that. You'll still be in denial when we find out that Rey is not Luke's daughter. But anyway, I guess it's time to let the games begin. We're off to the races. People will be breaking down every image from the teaser to come up with every kind of speculation under the sun and the moon and the stars. I've already started seeing people trying to piece things together. Now, I have a few more things I want to say about some of the images and the ideas that I mentioned in this video, but they can be their own videos completely on their own. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to overload folks because I tend to do that and this video is long enough. But anyway, this is my breakdown of the episode 9 teaser. What do you guys think? Did the teaser get you hyped for the movie in December? Or did you come here to watch another Star Wars video just so you can say that Star Wars is dead? But if you like this video, hit that like button. Also, if you have anything to share with the Urban Acolyte community, feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comments section, and I'll be checking back to see what you have to say. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and click that subscribe button and take your first steps towards becoming an Urban Acolyte. Embark on the journey to become the hero of your own story and become a force for change in your community. Continue to support the channel. You can do that by checking out more videos about Star Wars Episode 9, or you can check out this video that YouTube has chosen especially for you. But that's all I got in this one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Y'all keep on breathing, and may the force of others be with you. Always.